Hey folks, I got this rough country front bumper. It didn't come with the lights. I just used the OE lights in there, and I put a little bit of a mild tint, like a medium tint, I guess you can call it. Really nicely constructed bumper. Heavy as hell. I didn't put a winch, but it's really nice. I want to talk about it a little bit because this is the first time I've installed a bumper, and I didn't know it was going to be so much work. Um, and also the instructions aren't very good in it because it's missing a lot of details. So let me get into some of those. I'm going to turn the camera around so that I can show you some of those. So first things first, after you take off all your stock stuff, this is the back of the OEM one. Inside the instructions, it tells you to use some kind of, I don't know, it told you to cut it. It told you needed to cut all that stuff. In reality, you didn't. It came with a bracket. You have to look for it. It's in other bags. And then after you put it on, you mount it down. There's really little screws, and you just kind of screw it down. The trick is, for me, I put the screws on the bottom side coming up so that the bolts were there, but still, they're really tiny, barely fit your finger in there, and it's kind of hard. But just know that you don't have to cut anything because the instructions tell you to cut it. You don't have to cut it. You just have to mount it in, and it just takes a little time to screw it. All right, next up, let's talk about these bolts. So on your stock bumper, these bolts stick out from the bumper, and then you just have to bolt them down. So there's 4 of them, 2 on each side of the support. On the rough country, they have this bracket. One is going in and one is coming out. So one's the nut and one's the bolt. It's kind of weird. Problem is, it's coming from inside the bumper out, and you have to try to manage to screw it in from inside the bumper, even though you can't get your fingers in there. These suckers took me a good hour just to put them on because it's like impossible to align it yourself while you're trying to do this. You can see how I scraped the heck out of the top just trying to mount it up. I think if you had at least another pair of hands, or not 2, probably make it easier. Maybe put a jack underneath it or something like that. I used tires underneath mine, and it worked out pretty well. But one of the tricks that I've learned to put it in, at least how I did it, was I went ahead and put some of that tape on the back, some double-sided tape, held it in so that it wouldn't fall down while I was trying to bolt it up. Because you'll quickly learn that this bumper tends to, shift forward, and as soon as you shift a little bit, the nuts and the bolts are falling out into the bumper. And so somehow you got to hold it on the inside of the bumper while pushing it and putting it in a nut or a bolt. And then of course the bottom, I just kind of wiggle it around with a screwdriver just to get it in and hold it down while I'm trying to put it in too. Really painful process, but eventually got it all in, and I think it looks out pretty nice. And it came with the light bar too. Let me show you that.